All right, fellow owners, welcome to your Week 10 TFFL webcast. It's Wednesday, November 11th. We are here with a special Veterans Day edition of your webcast. So let me introduce our special guest first, our veteran, I think the only one among us, Mr. Thornburg. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your service. For your service to the TFFL tonight as well on the webcast. We're going to get our annual, much-anticipated 2016 rookie preview from Bill. Last year we learned about people like Jay Ajayi, Dorial Green-Beckham. Not a lot of these guys have necessarily panned out, but we learned about them first here from Bill. I'm anxious to hear who's going to be there in the first round next year for us.
Well, we'll see if we can drop some gems on somebody.
All right. And as usual, our panel, led by our commissioner, skipper of the Sponge Fishermen, Chief.
Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Hank, the czar and CEO of the K-Wheels.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Good, kind of fun to have the Wednesday in the middle of the week off. Kind of two little mini weeks. Kind of nice little week here.
And Berto, the two-time defending champion, Jack's Giant Killers. Welcome.
Dick, how are you? Good to be here.
Good. All right, so we have a lot to talk about. We've already heard some feedback from our guests tonight that maybe we should try to keep these things a little bit shorter, so we'll try. But we're actually going to get into some breaking TFFL news, some franchises, where the momentum is really shifting. Lots for us to talk about teams like the Giant Killers, for instance. Real quick, though, let's goof off a little bit. A quick happy birthday to Phil. A happy birthday to Bill.
Thank you so much.
Tag at you, buddy. To Phil, you.
Happy birthday.
You tag together like that.
And our TFFL trivia question to start us off. So you guys can start pondering this while we talk. This will be a very relevant question very soon, given the muck that is our standings here in the TFFL. You guys know that getting to 7-6 doesn't necessarily guarantee you a playoff spot in the TFFL. We've had, well, here's the question. How many times has it happened? I'll make this a multiple choice for you. How many times has it happened where a team has finished 7-6 and failed to make the TFFL playoffs? How infrequent an occurrence is this? Let's say 0 to 3 times, 4 to 6, or 7 or more.
Can you say the question one more time?
We're looking for the number of teams over the history of the TFFL, 18 years, 18 finished seasons, where the team finished 7-6, winning record, and did not qualify for the TFFL playoffs.
It's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know.
So 0 to 3, 4 to 6,
or 7 or more. All right, and Hank, I think that's a good segue into our weekly quick look back at the standings after Week 9. I think you'll paint a playoff picture for us. I think we're going to see why asking about 7-6 records is relevant tonight.
Absolutely. Playoff picture is really going to be fun here. This is the fun part of the season for everybody who's in it, and sadly I am not, so I will try and set it up as unbiasedly as I can. So we'll start in the North, which is a little more clear-cut, but the headline I love, down goes Berto, 2 straight. He is, he's still the division leader, but, is his team slipping? There's some chinks in that armor. Well, hopefully we'll get into that. The Lizards look strong. The Lizards are 6-3. They are, a full game up in the division. They have the highest scoring team right now. And, we're gonna see how they shake out. They still got some big division games to win. Fats and Aliens, they both lost this past week, but still right there, both in the division and in the wild card picture. The K-Wheels and Ampac we're done. Moving forward, the Southern Conference went 5-1 versus the North this week. 5-1. That's impressive, and the only team that lost to up the drama, the Senators, who are the team to beat at the top. Everybody else is in it. We look at the Devils and the Mongols. They have a game up, but even the Beavers and the Sponge, our panelists here, they Thorny was last week looked like it was over, but not so fast. You never know what might happen here. But it's a mess. So yes, I think Stick's comment about 7 and 6 could be very relevant as we get into things.
What's particularly interesting there is, the Senators, the only SoCo team to lose, coming back to the pack. At the top of the NoCo, Berto coming back to the pack with 2 straight losses. The Lizards are playing well, but Andrew Luck now out pretty much for the rest of the season. They're presumably taking a little bit of a step back to the pack in that regard. So yeah, it's going to be tight and fun here down the stretch.
Yes.
Real quick, just to sort of wrap up some of the big news and some of the momentum shifting, I mentioned Andrew Luck. Let me bring up a variety of momentum shifters out there. If any of you want to jump in and chat about these, let me know. Devils losing Dion Lewis for the season, pretty big blow for them. Lizards losing Andrew Luck, 2 to 6 weeks, but it sounds like that's pretty much going to be at least the rest of the TFFL regular season. The Aliens losing Ben Roethlisberger again. On the plus side, the Senators get D'Angelo Williams, suddenly a stud running back. The Hams adding Jeremy Langford at least for a couple weeks as a new stud running back. And the Mongols, I noted, losing a lot of depth in one fell swoop. Pierre Thomas, they signed as a free agent, promptly cut in the NFL. Malcolm Floyd, torn labrum. Sounds like he might actually try to play through it, but I think you're probably not counting on much from Floyd the rest of the way. And Eddie Lacy, your stud running back, suddenly basically losing his job. So a lot of depth, I think, lost in a hurry there for the Mongols.
Yeah, all those things are intriguing. You know, it's a mush right now. You know, the team Berto was looking so good, and right now is the last 2 weeks have not been scary at all. I would have beat you this week, Berto. I hope you recognize that.
I do. we got to plug the holes.
Yeah.
Just on the ones that you brought up, Stick. I don't think Luck. I don't think the Luck and Roethlisberger injuries are that big a deal. I think the Lizards starting Cam Newton is probably the right thing to do anyhow right now. And certainly Carson Palmer's been playing great for you. I don't know how many times you started him. Probably half the time, I guess, with Roethlisberger's injuries, maybe a little bit more than that. So I think he's got. I think that Arizona may have a tougher schedule than the Steelers coming in, but I don't think it's a dramatic drop off for either of you guys in that department. I think the 2 big ones. I would have said Langford would have been big, but it looks like Forte's already practicing again. So, who knows? That could be a mess actually, both for the Hams and the Devils. But he's practicing. Excuse me, I think this week. But I think the big one is Lacy for the Mongols. That's a guy that I think. You look at his roster and you look at that lineup and you see Eddie Lacy in it, Des Bryant, all the other talent that he's got, Randall Cobb, etc. And when you see the Lacy name in there and Freeman, and it looks like a great team, but taking Lacy out of that equation as a number 1, number 2 running back, although he hasn't been great this year, really is a huge hit, and somebody he had to have been counting on for the rest of the season, obviously.
And Stick, you mentioned D'Angelo Williams, and we talked about him last week a little bit. And yeah, it's like making a great trade. You're finding a starting running back. You get that same situation, not to as big a degree, with LeGarrette Blount now. His carries are gonna be. I don't want to overstate it. Patriots are still a matchup team. They're still likely to, if they have a passing advantage, line up 5 wide and pass it 90% of the time. But as long as they're getting control of the game, which they usually are, LeGarrette Blount figures to probably see his carries spike by at least 33%.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's
from a part-time running back to probably a 3/4 or better time running back.
Well, and in the same regard, I think the Devils can withstand the Dion Lewis loss a little bit because they've got James Starks, who we haven't talked about much, suddenly is a viable starting running back.
And I think they just announced that they would be doing a hybrid offense with the two of them, like it was a full-time hybrid, not just that Lacey was still the starter.
Well, no, they announced that Starks is a starter, but he's going to ride both of them. So, yeah.
Totally running back by committee.
How about the Sens still going 5 deep with D'Angelo Williams at running back? I mean, that's great depth for the Sens. So,
I'll go one forward and say that's their new #1 running back.
yeah.
He's at least top 10. He's an RB at least top 10, if not top 5, every week from now on out.
Okay, hey, let me jump right in with some breaking news that I think people are going to hear about first, right here on the TFFL webcast. Talking today with Bill, majority owner of the Slippery Beavers, we have learned for the first time that Aaron Rodgers, who basically has been untradeable. I'm not the only owner who has thrown mammoth packages at Bill, and basically he's just shrugged them off without even considering them. Aaron Rodgers is now, or at least in the off season, and Bill, you can clarify any of this, is essentially going to be on the trading block, and I'm sure he's not going to go easily. But I think some of the big packages that have been offered in the past might be the type of thing that would entice Bill this time around. All of this predicated on Derek Carr having emerged as a perhaps long-term keeper with a lot of upside. Bill, any comment?
Well, again, like you said, it is also predicated on him continuing to develop, as we've seen. I mean, I've watched at least 2 full games of him. One versus Steelers, another game he was playing a late game or a Monday night game, and he looks like the kind of guy that could be one of the top 5. And if you've got 2 top 5 quarterbacks, at some point you have to decide that their value, half of their value, might be better somewhere else. So in the off season, we're going to make a decision, but we need right now, until we're eliminated, and we tried to eliminate ourselves, but nobody wanted to buy anything. So, but we're gonna keep both of those guys till the off season and see what transpires then. Unless we're overwhelmed, unless somebody does something stupid. You'd have to do something stupid to get either one of them right now.
But you're a lot more open to it than you ever have been.
In the off season, yes.
So theoretically, I don't want you to go too far into what Chief or others have offered, but what's a starting bid?
I would have no idea at this point. I would have no idea at this point.
It's probably
You have to have some idea. I mean, how can you think about trading him and not have any clue as to what?
I'm not thinking about trading him. I'm not thinking about trading him now.
What are we talking about then? I'm confused.
You're talking about maybe if somebody threw a top running back and a 1 at him, you might have to listen.
But it would have to be somebody who was better than a keeper we had on our team right now.
Why don't you find out, Berto? Start putting something together.
He's right.
No, I don't want him. I don't want him. But
well, you do want him.
No, I mean, sure. You want to give him to me. I don't want to pay what I think I would.
I ain't giving anything
that way.
All right. Let's move on here. I will try.
All I wanted to say is, at the end of this season, all things have been settled. If people aren't happy with the existence they have, then I'm open to discussion.
I'd put this squarely in the non-news.
If you want Aaron Rodgers, you can come up with a package that will get Bill to consider it. I think that's a big change.
Or if you want Derek Carr.
Thornburg, are you saying that you think it's more likely than not that you'll move one of them before keeper deadline? Do you see yourself keeping 2 quarterbacks going into next year?
I'm saying we're going to trade him in the off season. We're going to trade one of them in the off season.
One of them, and you'll give that as a very high percentage that one of them will move before the start of the 2016 season.
Yeah, we're probably not going to keep 2 quarterbacks.
Okay. So there's a package to be done. We'll see as it gets closer to that deadline. We'll see what it's really worth.
All right. So I want to talk about what we're calling the Giant Killers contribution. And Chief really raised this in his.
Got a little bit of a cough.
Chief raised this in his commissioner's report this week. On the one hand, writing that the Giant Killers are in pretty serious trouble, and I think a lot of us might agree. 2 straight losses. The lineup really doesn't look that strong anymore. Tons of injuries. But on the other hand, Berto, Chief explains, and we all know this too, that you're still in good shape for a first-round bye. How do we reconcile these two statements? And I think the analogy I came up with are the Giant Killers, the TFFL's version of the 2014 Arizona Cardinals, a team that stormed out to a great start. Carson Palmer gets injured, and they crumble in the playoffs as a team that was way overseeded at that point. Are the Giant Killers strong enough to merit the number 1 or number 2 seed, to live up to that?
You want me to respond to this or somebody else?
Why don't we let other people jump in on this one?
Oh, look, it's not rocket surgery here. He's got 7 wins. He has the impact on the schedule.
And the wheels.
He has a K-Wheels on the schedule, and regardless of who would have won a theoretical matchup this week, you have to like the Giant Killers matchup, and he's won against the Lizards head-to-head. I mean, unless Richie runs the table, I think Giant Killers still have a clear path to the number 1 seed.
Do you see them
in serious trouble?
Do you see them winning a playoff game, Chief?
As the roster currently stands, no. Whoever comes, because he's going to get the bye first week, so he's going to have a really good team in the semifinals. And that, as things stand now, is probably the end of the line.
Real quick, Phil, Bill, do the Giant Killers win a playoff game?
I would say, yeah. Well, they've already got if they have the bye, they might run into somebody who's better. I would say it's a push.
The Giant Killers are not going to win another game this season.
Oh!
Got thrown.
Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to pound the Mongols this week. Killers are going to break out of their funk. We're going to put up a good number. We're going to beat the Ampac. We're going to beat the Wheels. We're going to get the bye. We're going to win Week 15, and then we'll see what happens at the Pac Bowl.
All right.
Don't I have you in a Week 11 matchup?
Yes. So start trading some people away from your team.
There we go. That's going to be decision day right there.
No, I mean, yeah, I have some issues, but yeah, I mean, I can't withstand any more injuries. I'll say that much. So if there's another injury,
you mean like Le'Veon Bell, like or some other.
No, I've had my fair share of injuries, and I wasn't as deep as I would have wanted to be. I didn't. The other thing is, I didn't get any of those waiver guys I ever wanted. I got the scraps or the 4th or 5th guys this season. I never got a Stephon Diggs. I never got a Dante Moncrief. I never got the guys that I wanted.
Dante Moncrief.
Early on, no, he had some good games. Or Willie Snead, whoever I had on my lists. Or even this week, I thought I'd even get Malcolm Floyd. I got shut out of that. Or Inman, I got shut out of that. I mean, thankfully, it doesn't appear that they're going to do a hell of a lot. But so yeah, I haven't hit any home runs on waiver wires. The trade Dalton's been fine, but I got to make a move where I'm in trouble, or where my guys need to start stepping it up, particularly Jeremy Hill and Marshawn Lynch. If Hill and Lynch continue, to play the way that they've been playing, and I don't get a bye, then I could lose in Week 14. If they start playing, I get that bye. Who knows? I could wind up in the Pac Bowl very easily. Got to win one game then.
Yeah, I think Chief laid it out pretty. I mean, you should get the bye, and as you've been saying all season long, Berto, 2 wins at that point. 2 wins in the playoffs. All right, let's before we get too deep into the show, I want to give everybody, I think, what they've been waiting for, the annual rookie preview by our college football expert, Mr. Thornton. But real quick, this is going to be maybe a 15-second interjection here. Since Berto brought up making moves, I think we're all wondering whether he's going to pull a big trade before the trade deadline. Chief, if you can hear me, I know you're not there. When exactly is the trade deadline? Let's clarify that right here and now. If we need to look up the answer and give it to people at the end of the show,
it's as Bill wrote in the early report. It's at 1 o'clock on week 11 Sunday.
Which means we're basically
1 week from Sunday.
10 days from now, basically 10, 11 days from now.
Got it.
Okay, so Berto, get your moves done.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to make a move, Stick. I'm waiting on you.
I tried to make a three-way trade today. It didn't happen.
Oh,
I'm not blaming anybody, Mr. Thornton.
It was a well-structured trade that I think led to the breaking news announcement at the top of the show, because there's certain players that certain owners might overvalue, and that's okay.
The discussions regarding Aaron Rodgers and/or David Carr had happened before that trade was off.
Let's be clear. Nobody wants
not news to me.
David Carr. Nobody wants David Carr. Derek Carr, maybe.
That's a good point.
Then don't trade for David Carr. Derek Carr. Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. Yes.
Derek Carr.
I see you're fond of your players. I see. You know their first name.
Bill, tell us about some rookies next year.
Okay, well,
one thing, I'm working the phone right now to get a deal.
I'm waiting for it. I
know it's not coming to me.
Well, it is. I don't know, as we are well been versed in or paid attention to. There were a lot of good running back prospects last year. This year, not so much. You've got Ezekiel Elliott, who is the number one draft eligible running back. But there are some really tantalizing wide receiver prospects out there. Laquan Treadwell out of Mississippi is just supposed to be the next beast. He is, as they're saying, almost as refined as Cooper. So Amari Cooper, who we're seeing right now, is basically a stud from the beginning. Unfortunately, there just hasn't been a lot of guys stepping up. There's been a lot of preseason guys that people thought. I mean, obviously, there was the running back from Pitt, James Conner, that everybody liked, and he tore his ACL in midseason. You've got all of these freshmen that are going to be available in the 2017 class. I mean, Leonard Fournette, obviously, Nick Chubb's going to be coming off the ACL repair, or MCL, I think it is. I mean, he might have actually had both. And then the guy that I love is Samaje Perine out of Oklahoma. But I don't know. I don't think he's not available till 2017. So again, I apologize. It hasn't really been it hasn't really laid out yet as to where it's going. We know Ezekiel Elliott is a primetime running back, but again, he's coming out of Ohio State. We've seen some Ohio State issues with running backs, so I think it might be we're still a little early in trying to figure out where those prime top 5 picks are coming from. So best I can give you right now.
You think Elliott is presumably the number one?
Yeah, probably mid to late first round. There's thought maybe the Bears are still looking, although if they still like what they're seeing right now, then who knows? But there are still teams that need running backs, but teams need offensive lines more than they need running backs. So I think we're going to see maybe one running back in the first round, probably another one in the second, maybe 2 in the second, but the rest of them are going to come again, 3rd, 4th round. Like we said, Matt Jones was a 3rd round pick, so I'm pretty happy to have him on our squad.
So your advice would be to trade out of the first round, perhaps.
I would say that the veterans being unprotected are going to be more valuable in the first round than trading out. I mean, there's only so many players. There's always going to be so many players that are valuable, and whether their value is bigger or not, we have to pick 12 guys in the first round, 12 guys in the second round. So, it's going to be a tough cut down day, I'm thinking, in our league.
All right, I want to stick with vision here. I'm getting a little echo here.
Yes, you are. You're echoing.
I'm not quite sure how that's happening.
I feel like the luckiest man
Yes.
on earth.
Derek, Jita.
Do you possibly have another browser window open with this chat on it? Just,
No.
Okay.
Am I echoing now? No, good.
All right, you're good.
Whatever. All right. So, we've talked about the Mongols losing Eddie Lacy, not losing him, but certainly losing the punch that he once provided to their lineup. They're still a high-scoring team. The Beavers surging a little bit. But I really sort of want to talk about the Devils, and my question is are we going to have to wake Nick up for the playoffs after all? This team is surging once again. Drew Brees is carrying them just like he did last year. Nick is, he lost Deion Lewis, but he tends to find a way. He tends to overcome in this division. Right, real quick, are the Devils going to make the playoffs?
I'm going to beat him this week because I play him, and Breeze is the only guy on his roster to me that's scary. I mean, James Starks, like we just mentioned, Lacey's going down. Starks gets some playing time. But it's Stephon Diggs, James Jones, John Brown. It's not a scary lineup to look at. He's been putting up some points, but I'm going to beat him this week. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm going to take the firm no there, too. I mean, you say Breeze carries a team, but in previous years they had a productive Matt Forte, a productive Alfred Morris, a productive Victor Cruz. So, I mean, they're missing all their support. So, no, I'd be a little bit surprised if they came out of there with a playoff spot.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Mongols are the team to beat. I mean, they're going to have issues after I beat them this week, but look out for the Beavers. I think the Dirt Devils are the third best team in that division, and I think the two wild card teams are going to come out of the NOCO West, to be in all honesty. So I say no.
Here's the thing with the Devils: they already have 5 wins. They're not one of these teams trying to sneak up at 4-5 at the moment. They have 5 wins. They play the K-Wheels. They play the AMPAC. I think the game against the K-Wheels is critical. If they can win that one right away and get to 6-4, with the AMPAC looming and with head-to-head games against the Beavers and the Mongols, I think they find a way to get to 7 wins and probably get in once again. It's what Nick tends to do. We'll see.
I would just say that probably the one to come out of that division, the only one coming out of that division is going to be the division winner. I don't think that's going to be a wild card division either.
Stick's right though. This is exactly a Nick script. This is he's plodding along. His team looks like crap. But he's got the right schedule. I mean, I'm not a strong team right now. He's got the AMPAC. And if he just beats us, the two of us, and then wins against the Mongols and the Beavers, he's strong. Yeah. That's 8 wins. He's probably in the playoffs.
Right. Now, if the one thing we need to point out here is the Devils are 0-2 in their division. The Mongols are 2-0. So I think the Devils may have to get to 8 wins to do it, but we'll see. All right. As long as we got Bill here, we've been talking to him a lot, but we know we have to ask him this question because we've talked about it a lot on the webcast this year. The much ballyhooed 3 first-round picks that the Beavers had in 2015. We were talking about it for a year. Bill knew what he was doing. He was stockpiling picks to go get a bunch of the stud rookie running back class coming out. And he ended up taking Matt Jones, Joik Bell, and Devontae Parker. If you had to do it all over again, Bill, what would you do?
Of course you'd change things. Of course you would. but there's no way that at the time that we could have. I mean, the goal was at first, obviously, to move up and to get pick number 1, 2, or 3. But the amount of picks that were being required and players being required were just extraordinary. And I didn't. I mean, I tried, and even to the end, I was still thinking of moving from 7 to 6 or 5 or 4, but it just didn't work out that way. We're actually very happy with Matt Jones. I think Matt Jones was a pick that will pan out in the future. I think there's across the board thought that he could be a potential number 1 running back. Maybe not a top 10, but a good number 1 for a run first team. Joique Bell, obviously his injury, let Abdullah come in, but the Lions basically suck. So our thought was because we'd have our thought was let's get a veteran. What kind of veteran out there is left out? He was the top veteran running back, and the thought was that Abdullah would take some time to develop, and he has. Abdullah right now is not I mean, you could keep throwing him out there, but he's not yet an RB1. And I think Joique Bell actually will have a good second half. As far as the third pick, it was let's see what's the next best wide receiver, rookie wide receiver, and we really thought that Devontae Parker in that vaunted new Vikings offense that was going to do so well. What's that? Dolphins. Yeah, Dolphins. Dolphins offense was going to do so well, and it just basically collapsed, and they fired their coach. So while that benefited Lamar Miller, I don't know that Devontae Parker would have developed differently, but if he'd been on the field some, that would have helped. So yes, it was not the most productive thing, but I stand by the picks that we made at that time. Had I had a chance, I probably would have taken maybe Duke Johnson or I can't think of another rookie wide receiver that would be that much better, but there were some veterans that were out there. So as far as where we were at the situation, I still stand by those picks. I won't stand by our second-round pick of Dwayne Allen. That was stupid, ridiculous, and the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Wow, that's a low bar.
I'm sure we could spend some time coming up with something.
Yeah.
Nick, maybe we should make that a topic for the webcast next
What's
week.
the dumbest thing?
Dumbest moves by
45 minutes on dumber things that Bill has done besides that.
It's a slideshow.
Kareem Huggins.
slideshow, yes.
All right.
Kareem Huggins? That
Off the
wasn't
top of
mine.
your head, Chief comes up with Kareem Huggins. Well done, Chief.
Nice.
Nice. Good work.
All right, Chief. Why don't you get us looking ahead to Week 10 here?
Are we here already? Wow.
We'll start to wrap up.
Once again, they're all critical weeks, so it's kind of redundant. We keep saying, it's an important week in the TFFL. If you're not the AMPAC, this is an important week from here on out. I really like the Sponge Aliens game, not just because 2 of us are here right now. Sponge right now are favored by 1, and let's tell you, the loser of this game, if their division leader wins, I think that's all she wrote for that team. If the Senators win and I lose, or if the Lizards win and the Aliens lose, I think that's all she wrote. We'll have a good idea what's going to happen tomorrow night. I have Ivory and McCoy going that Thursday night game. So by midnight tomorrow, we should have a pretty good idea of how that game might unfold. Other games, we have the aforementioned Devils and K-Wheels. Hanks is going to win that, so that's good. We have the Mongols and the Giant Killers, and Berto says he's going to win that game, so we're good there. Beavers and the AMPAC. I don't want to say nobody cares about that, but one owner cares about that game. Lizards and the Hams. Again, another good game that's going to have some playoff implications. And 2 teams we actually haven't talked about today, the Boba Fetts and the Senators. Both having good years. Boba Fett took a step back last weekend, but were playing very well before that. Ditto the Senators. And we'll see if the Senators can can stop their mini slide here and maintain their division dominance, the conference dominance.
I got Sammy Watkins joining your guys tomorrow night, Chief. So we won't settle anything obviously that early, but yeah, we'll have a good sense of where things are going.
Yeah, and McCoy makes me nervous because he's got that sprained shoulder, and he's probable. So maybe he's being sandbagged, maybe he's not. Maybe he goes out there, gives it an honest effort, but can't do it.
Watkins is in the same boat. I mean, that's why I didn't play Watkins last week, and he had a big game. So I feel compelled to put him in. But he's playing against Rivas. I don't have high hopes for Watkins either.
Well, who's your alternative? Who's your alternative? Moncrief?
Floyd.
Yeah, Floyd would be a good play.
Against Seattle, though, So
I'll tell you what, that Senators back team, he's got Tom Brady.
Is everybody echoing?
Today, I consider myself
Yes. Thornburg is.
luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Okay, it went away. Berto, what were we saying?
All right, so I was saying.
You're okay.
I'm hearing an echo. Oh, now it's better. No, but you look at that Fat Senators game. I'm looking up and down the lineups, and I think if the Senators don't get a huge number from Brady, I think they're in trouble because Gurley is going to rip apart Chicago, and I think AJ Green and Emmanuel Sanders are going to have big games. Edelman's going to have a big game. If those touchdowns from Brady go to Edelman, I think the Senators are in good trouble.
I'm not sure Patriots are in good shape if they don't get a couple of these offensive linemen back this week. This is the game they're going to end up losing this year. So yeah, I wouldn't expect big things from Brady.
I think the Senators should be on upset alert. The Senators need to look out this week. The Pats look to be much better aligned, much better players ready to go, matchups. South is going to get tight.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same story for the Senators. I mean, they're a good team, but if Tom Brady goes out and scores 30+, they're a much better team, obviously. And if he doesn't do that, I think, they're probably going to lose to a lot of teams. So the Pats don't impress me quite as much as they seem to be impressing you guys. Jameis Winston is their quarterback. Latavius Murray may not even play with his concussion. So, yeah, if Tom Brady goes and does his job, I think the Senators should win this game. All right, Chief, let me turn it back to you one more time. We've talked about the trade deadline. That's the big reminder I think people need to start thinking about. It is only 10 days away. But other reminders and your usual opportunity to rant, if you'd like.
Other reminders. No, FAR goes all the way to the regular season, so we should be pretty good there. You know what I would say? I wouldn't call it a rant, just an observation. I work from home a good part of the time. Usually at least 2 days a week I'm working from home. And, a lot of times my wife's getting kids ready for school, in the background. And she usually has on Good Morning America in the morning. And, it's noise. And I can't... I don't get mad about it because it's not for me. I'm not their target audience. But, it's basically advertising other ABC shows and do other stuff for ratings, have your concerts in the summer and talk your entertainment news. That's great. But I was sitting there, and to me it's like nails on a chalkboard hearing Robin Roberts talk. If she doesn't have the most annoying voice in this planet, it's probably a close second. But I was sitting here, and it occurred to me, you know what? I'm very glad that she's gay. Because if she ever hooked up with Chris Collinsworth, she would have the most annoying voice in God's green earth. So, you call it a rant against, annoying voices. Beauty is in the ear of the beholder. But I just call it, let's be glad Robin Roberts is gay.
That insight of Robin Roberts and Chris Collinsworth possibly producing the most annoying voice ever created is brilliant. Well done, Chief.
That's true, though. Let's go get drunk and watch a great peacock tree.
But first, I have a TFFL trivia answer.
It's yes.
I'm waiting for the views of the great K-pop tree to go over 1,000. It keeps climbing up there. So we're looking for the number of TFFL franchises over the years that have gone 7-6 and failed to make the playoffs. 0 to 3, 4 to 6, or 7 or more. I'm seeing 7 or more for Bill. 4 to 6, 0 to 3. Berto, what do you got? You're 4 to 6. The answer is 7. 7 times.
Oh, really?
Wow.
So that's in the 7 or more category, obviously.
Wow.
And I bring it up because
Shocking.
Where's my washing machine?
Shocking.
I'm amazed by that.
it could quite well happen again this year. I think if you're thinking I just need to get to 7 wins, I can think of a few franchises, mine included, who that might not be good enough for. You're not going to win your division with 7 games.
Wow.
And yeah, the wild card's going to be a mess.
Is Bill the only one who got that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Michael Giovenco probably got it right at home. I think.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Michael's never missed one.
All right, guys. So I think we're right at an hour, which is sort of our usual pattern when we have a guest. No, actually, I think we're at about 45 minutes, which would be good for having a guest on. So, Bill, I'm sorry we didn't get it all the way down to a half an hour, but we'll blame it on you.
I'm a loquacious fuck.
Thank you very much for joining us, Bill. For unfortunately, not a lot of rookies to talk about, but I think that's still good advice.
I got a name. Devontae Booker, running back out of Utah. Keep your eye on him.
Small guy, big guy?
5'10", 235, but runs like a deer.
Bill, follow your own advice for the first round next year.
What would that be? Same advice?
No Joik Bells.
Hey, he's going to have a big second half, I'm telling you.
Okay.
No. What about the kid Henry from Alabama? Has he come out?
Not till next year.
Well,
As with my favorite name in all of college football, Samaje Perine.
How about some undersized, 5'8" slashers, pass catching kind?
Nothing.
Nothing, huh?
Nothing.
All right.
There will be.
It's early, but,
I guess I better just use it to acquire Rodgers.
There you go.
I'm taking 2017 picks, baby.
all right, Berto. Hey, good luck in stopping the slide this week.
Thank you.
Hank, I'm not quite sure what you're rooting for right now.
The Allman Brothers Band.
I'm rooting against Berto. That's what I'm rooting for right now. Anybody but Berto.
Thornburg, I think we'll be talking. We talked a lot about the Beavers this week. We might very well be talking a lot more about you with a win over the AMPAC.
Hope so. I mean,
Right
predicting, so yes.
And Chief, good luck to both of our teams. But you're right, big game. I think that might even knock one of us out of the playoffs at this point. Obviously not officially, but not setting up the way you want to for a wild card tiebreaker. All right, so good luck, everybody. We'll be back here in a week. Happy Veterans Day. Take care.